So far, our programs have been very one-directional, meaning we've told the computer to do something, it's gone and performed some tasks, and then if there's output, it's printed it out to the console, meaning one direction, from the computer out to you. But that's pretty boring. That's not how we're used to interacting with software. We're used to a back and forth where we give the computer something, it does some work, and then it returns back certain pieces of information. It's as if we need a way for us to put things into the system. Well, as it turns out, there's a way to do that. Let's think about our basic Hello World program. Before, we just printed out the words Hello World. But what if something like this, we paused for a moment to let the user type in their name. Then when they typed it, we saved it in a variable, and then we greeted them appropriately. This is called an interactive program. And the only thing we're missing in order to accomplish this is something that listens for when the user types into the console. That thing is called a scanner. A scanner is a special Java API that knows how to listen for when you're going to type things in the console. It's a way to send things back and forth between you, the user, and the computer. In order to implement scanner, you're going to need to add a few different pieces to your code. The first thing you're going to need to add is the import statement. Scanner doesn't come with all of the Java code by default, so you have to tell it to go find the code. Otherwise, you'll get a cannot find symbol error. To add an import statement, you use the keyword import and then a space and then whatever code you need to add. In this case, we're going to add the code that's located at java.util.scanner and then end the line with a semicolon. And this line goes before your class header even. If you're using an IDE like IntelliJ and you forget this line, chances are it'll notice you're using a scanner and suggest that you need to import it. The second thing you need to do is actually create a new scanner. This is creating what we call an object, but really it's going to be a tool for you to use throughout your program. And as you can see, it's saved just like a variable. It starts with the type, which is scanner with a capital S, and then you give it a name. I like to call my scanners input because that's what it is. It's listening for input from the user. Then on the right-hand side, use the keyword new and then the type scanner again, and then in the parentheses, you're telling the scanner what to listen to. And in this case, you're going to tell it to listen to System.in, meaning, hey, I'm a listener, I'm a scanner, and I'm listening for whatever you type in the console. Once you've got all this set up, now you're ready to call upon your scanner whenever you want your user to type something in. And so where you place the next piece is very important because it's going to pause your code and wait for your user to enter something in. Here's an example from the program we saw before. We print out a couple lines, welcome, what is your name? And then we know at that point we want to stop the program and wait for the user to type something in. And it'll wait as long as it needs to. That's what the input.next will do. It's going to wait until the user types in a string and hits enter. Once the user hits enter, whatever they typed in is going to get saved into the variable that we've created here. So in this case, whatever they type in is going to get saved in a string called name. Once we've got that variable, then we can go back and use it and greet the user appropriately. Scanner is very type specific. So really, there's 4 different methods that you're going to want to use depending on what types of things you want the user to type in. For example, if you want them to type in an int, they should type .nextInt as their method on the scanner. If you want them to type a double, it's .nextDouble. And then there's the .next method that we used before that accepts strings, but not spaces. So you can type in any characters, but as soon as there's a space, it'll forget anything after it. So if you do want your user to be able to type in a whole line, lots of spaces, and capture everything just before they hit enter, you want to use the name of your scanner .nextLine. Once you learn how to use these things, you'll realize the flow of your program depends on how the user types things in. So it's good to get some practice. And you want to make sure you're paying close attention because if you're expecting an int and your user types a string, you're going to get an error that's going to crash your program. But since you already understand lots about data types, all you need to know is make sure that you're saving what they type in the proper data type as a variable and using the correct scanner method. With these 4 methods, now you can create interactive programs and have a real back and forth between you and your programs.